As we showed you late last night, the final report has been released from an independent investigation of the 2021 Oxford High School shooting. You can read all 577 pages right now on cbsdetroit.com.
It is quite a lot to get through. The findings put that blame directly on school district officials, saying that they failed to follow their own policies and that the shooting could have been prevented.
Joining us now to discuss are two of the attorneys suing the district on behalf of the victims and their families. We have Wolf Mueller here in the studio with us, as well as Ben Johnson joining us over Zoom. Thank you both for being here today.
Thank you for having us.
Wolf, I'll start with you. When this came down last night, did anything stand out to you, and was any of this information new to you?
I had two takeaways. The first is what you already said, that an objective, independent group of investigators found that the tragedy was preventable and that the school district played a large part in this tragedy. The second part was, frankly, that Oxford School District wasn't candid and didn't allow their own employees to be interviewed. They circled the wagons and didn't fully cooperate. So the report isn't as thorough as it probably could have been, and more damning, frankly, against the school district.
Sure.
Then more than 500 pages in this report. What were your initial responses and reactions to it?
Terrence, I too was a little taken aback by the lack of cooperation of the school district, but we've known that. Wolf and I have known that. Our clients have faced it since the day of this shooting. But what I want to point out is, although we call it independent and objective, guys, don't forget who paid for it. The school board. Okay? So we've seen in past a whitewash of these investigations where they just say nothing happened by the folks who hired us. They didn't do that here. And the reason why I think that is so important to remember here is that that's how overwhelming the evidence is of that the school had the absolute, not only the opportunity, but the duty under the law to stop this shooting and failed to do it. And now we get to see, folks, the civil jurisprudence system, both here in Michigan and federally, really, it get put on trial to see, okay, now that we know the school did exactly these things wrong, we know it from day one, can they be held accountable in civil court like what Wolf Mueller and I are doing on behalf of our clients, or are we going to let them off scot-free because of this unconstitutional thing called governmental immunity?
Then, are the cases at all complicated, or will the conversation come up in court for you to have these unprecedented charges against the shooter's parents in that separate trial?
Shana, they use that in every single case. They're going to be able to talk about that. And one of the things that we'll do in our cases is talk, of course, about the culpability, in other words, the liability, the fault of what Ethan Crumley was and his parents. And every single juror is going to know about the outcomes of both of those by the time we get to trial. So that doesn't come new at all. But what's going to be is the shift of focus on the school district, who literally has hid behind this cloak of governmental immunity, can't sue the government since day one. And now, of course, we know, just like what Wolf said, 100% right, that they were told not to cooperate, and 70%, folks, 7 out of 10 of them didn't cooperate. So how do you get to the bottom of what really went wrong if they're not going to come and admit the things that what they did?
Despite the report being so lengthy, Wolf, you mentioned that it was still rather vague. Do you think it accomplished anything at all just in terms of moving this case forward or answering some of those questions that so many people have?
I think it really addressed the school district, and Ben was right. They paid for it. And this group found, even despite the lack of cooperation, that it was preventable and put the blame squarely on the school district. That's huge, because it's easy and expedient to simply blame the shooter or his parents. We don't fix things in the future unless we get to the root cause, and this was part of it that established the failure, the systemic failure of policy and training that caused this tragedy to happen. It was absolutely preventable. And a jury will see that when we get to the jury.
Do you think, Wolf, this report provides the groundwork necessary to prevent something similar from happening anywhere else in Michigan?
I certainly think it's a start. That now they have started to learn and put into place new policies that hopefully everybody will learn how to address this. It was the threat assessment up front. The other takeaway that I think is important is that the report indicated that the teachers and the students saved lives when the shooting started to happen. The failures were up front in the day and the day of and the day before, and even earlier, on the shoulders of the administrators and the school officials. But the students and teachers were the heroes, and they prevented more lives from being lost.
Vin, any final thoughts from you?
Just again, guys, I think it's a huge day for our clients, and I know Wolf will certainly address this as well. And that is, it's a horrible day for our folks to have to go through and listen to this all over again every single day since the day this happened. But at least today, we're one step closer, folks, of seeing the truth of what really happened, full disclosure, full accountability of everybody. And until we get there, we're not there yet, this can happen again, and that's what we are fighting so hard on behalf of our clients for every day to prevent from ever happening again.
Well, of course, we will continue to follow these cases as they play out. Attorneys Ven Johnson and Wolf Mueller, thank you both so much for joining us.
Thank you for having us. Appreciate it.
Thank you.